Welcome everyone to Charts Focus 1, where we teach you how to work hard and trade smart. In this live stream recap video, I want to go over a SPY call trade that we executed live in the Discord chat room that resulted in 168% plus gains at the end of the day. Now, before I go into how we made that trade, I want to go over what the market did today. So during quote unquote normal conditions, okay, after we get a normal retest of the 50 SMA, which we did thanks to the combined gains from the bounce that we saw from Tuesday to Wednesday, we tend to get another follow-up day where we tend to run up above the 50 SMA and stay above the 50 SMA for the next day or two. And when that happens, we tend to allow the 10 SMA to catch up to the price. And when the price starts to stick around the 10 SMA, we start to reject from the 10 SMA because it becomes a very, very hard level of resistance, right? So this SMA is now a huge level of resistance since we've been going to the downside. And when that happens, we tend to make a lower high point, and then we come back down, retest the 50 SMA, and again, we break below the 50 SMA, losing the support again, and we start heading lower once more. And that could have been our second leg down. However, we did not do this, and instead, we opened up with a huge gap down. So today's opening price was $383.05, and yesterday's close was $386.23. So quite a large move there. And from that point forward, okay, this is how we got our trade. So if you go on the 15-minute time frame, after our gap down open here, we continued to flush and break every pivotal support levels. For example, 382, 381, and eventually we came back down to 379. Now, we're looking at an area between 378 to 379, but I was more focused on this significant level because on the intraday time frame, we're kind of moving up and down as buyers were trying to bring back some strength here at this 379 level. But eventually, they had to cave in to the sellers that came in at 379 as we rejected this level for a potential area of support, intraday support, and we flushed down. Now, this 379 level is also visible on the daily time frame. So if you guys take a look at the daily time frame, right, this 379 level was also a level of resistance in the past and multiple areas of support as well. Okay, and eventually, that's where we saw that bigger shot of volume to the sell side as we continued to move lower, and we eventually broke below Tuesday's low, okay, and Monday's low as well. And that's where we got that huge amount of selling coming in at these two candlesticks, and eventually we start to get really oversold, right? So at one point, I looked up the RSI here, and on the RSI, it was incredible to see that we're sticking around the teens, right? The value of the RSI was around 15 to 16 to 17. And that's a very, very low value. And whenever we get the RSI to be that low, we almost always tend to have a nice big bounce. And I told my CFO Stream Watch members that this is something that you need to be looking at because whenever the RSI is in the teens or it's below 20s, all right, and it's already oversold at below 20s or around 20, right? And whenever you get down to that number, the teens, we tend to get a very V-shaped bounce. And this is what I told my CFO Stream Watch members, right? And I said, we have to look out for 375, a hold of 375. So where did this level come from? Well, if you go back in the daily time frame and go back to the previous data that we have here, okay, we use the 375 as multiple levels of resistance on the intraday and the daily, and multiple levels of support on the intraday and on the daily as well. So at some point I said, okay, we need to see a coinciding movement where we hold 375 and we start to bounce to the upside so that the RSI can recalibrate back to at least an oversold value of 30, right? Because we're so low on the value of RSI. So if we go back to the 15-minute time frame, okay, this is where we decided to bounce. And here are the messages that I sent in to my CFO Swing and Watch members. So I said a day trade opportunity coming up for SPY. And I said, watch it here. Because if we hold 375, then we grab calls right here. And I said, I'll let you know. So this is around 10:36 a.m. to around 10:37, right? So that was on this specific candlestick. So we had about a couple of minutes left before this candlestick closed. And so I quickly got into some calls here, right? Using this specific contract. SPY 384 calls that expire on Monday, right? 12/27. And the next thing that I told everyone was that I'm looking for $376 or 377 max for my profit target. But if we invert sharply here, I can hold longer into tomorrow. So initially, this was a day trade, as I said in that screenshot that I just showed you. And I said you can also choose weekly expiration as well for a better premium move. And I decided to choose 380 calls for 12/23. And I personally did not get into these ones, okay, because it was a little bit too risky for me, and I'll tell you why as well. And so eventually, we got in around 375 points. I believe it was like 13. That's when I got filled in personally. And or actually, it might have been a little bit lower than that. But it was around 375. That's all I needed to know, that the price was moving away from 375. And we did that with a lot of good volume. And so we continued to push up higher, and those contracts, those 384 calls that expire on Monday, on December 27th, we continued to move up higher to 20%, 25%, 50%, right? 60%, okay, as I said here. And eventually, we closed way above my profit target of 377, and we ended up with a runner and closed above 380, right? And so I was looking for an ideal close at 380 or slightly underneath 380, but I got even better than the ideal close as we ended up at $380.74. And so this runner that I have here, that I have left over, ended up with 168% plus. And so I'm hoping that I can get out tomorrow near the same percentage or even more, around 200%. Right? So that's kind of what I'm hoping there, but obviously, hope will never work in the stock market. So at least logically, I want to be out at least a triple-digit percentage on that runner. Now, why did I not get the 380 calls that expire tomorrow? So first of all, those contracts ran, I believe, at least 200% plus for those contracts at the time of my message, okay, around 10:39, okay? And obviously, that would have been a better percentage run for me. However, tomorrow, we have a very critical data point that's coming out, an economic inflation data point that the Federal Reserve uses. And they can also sometimes say that this specific data point is more important than the CPI data which we got last week. And that economic data is the PCE inflation data, right? And it's something that is very, very important, and the market will react. And that is a major reason why I decided to go with next week's contract. Now, obviously, I did not go out further than I needed to because we also have the Christmas weekend. And even if the data is bad, right, and the market reacts negatively to it, I still expect to see the Santa rally, which generally starts after Christmas, to happen, right? And the Santa rally tends to go on into the first new week of the new year. So I did not want to risk the fact that overnight I can see my calls completely crushed, and at market open, my calls can potentially be, in the negatives and not even back into, at least 20%, 25% with those weekly expiration contracts. So that's a major reason why I did not get those 380 calls that expire on December 23rd, which is tomorrow on Friday. And hopefully I do expect to see that some of my members have gotten those contracts, but I'm pretty sure they just follow me as well to get a less riskier position for this SPY trade. So for now, I am swinging this call, and hopefully you guys are able to get some sort of a trade tomorrow as well on SPY, especially if we do hold the 378 to 379 area as support again. Because if we do that tomorrow, and if the PCE data doesn't come out as bad as expected, all right, we will see a positive reaction to the market. Okay, but remember, we already know what the FOMC meeting told us, right? The Federal Reserve members are still looking to increase rates, right? Because they did. They just cut back a little bit to 50 BP. And so the market can, react in a limbo, right? It might not know where to go, especially if PCE numbers come higher than expected, all right? Or if it comes in near the expectation number, all right? And the number one thing that I think you guys should be looking for tomorrow as well is that look for the core PCE year over year data point. All right, it'll be coming out 1 hour before the market is open. So it's 5:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time and 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, so 5:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, so that is it for this video. If you liked what you heard, please leave a thumbs up down below. And if you're new here, check out the description box below for the subscription link to the CFO Stringer Watch newsletter. I will see you all in another video, and thank you for watching.